Hello. Welcome back, travelers, after a long pit stop. Welcome to another episode of Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. I am your host, Ike, also known as Hito in certain circles, and I'm happy to be back and happy that y'all are still here listening to what I have to say. Yeah, it's been a couple months now, and I will get into what it is that I have been up to. It's been a journey before I was able to record again, and I'm happy to be back here. Before we begin, I'm gonna say the road trip music for today is gonna have to be "It's Been a While" by Stained, because it's been a while since I fucked things up like I normally do. Because when it comes to certain things, like I talk about my ADHD regularly, and there's nothing inherently wrong with having ADHD. It's just a human condition. It is what it is. It's just that sometimes it's harder to function in the world the way it's set up. And so, well, back in July, I can't remember if I said this or not, but I was let go from my job at eBay. That happened back in July. And the reason why is they kind of outsourced my position to like it's corporations. So the job that I did before was outsourced to India. It was essentially fraud prevention. That was kind of shifted to where they will be handling that from here on. And so they try to give us like random positions that we can do, and I attempted one of them, but the problem is it was a brand new department. They were still trying to figure things out, so there was no like set task of, hey, this is your job, just do this. It was a whole lot of, all right, we're gonna figure it out, and while we're figuring it out, go do some busy work. Busy work and ADHD do not mix well. Not at all. And why does it not mix well is because your brain would like just simply could have like your brain just kind of just jumps and does what it wants to do at certain times, and when it does that you can't really function in a way a company wants you to function. And so unfortunately I was let go because my production fell as they were trying to figure out our new roles. And in that time I had to do like kind of some discovery stuff. I had to kind of like dig into myself and figure out what it is overall that I kind of like what I want to do next, because I can find a job. That's easy. That's no problem. It's normally just harder to like up and like after taking a year or two to build up, like you get your raises, you build up a rapport, and then all of a sudden you got to start over again. And because my ADHD kind of cost me some my like degrees and like getting a degree and stuff, kind of have to like always start from the bottom. There's no way you could say, hey, I have this piece of paper, start me off at like a livable wage. And I'm still working on that. If everything goes according to plan, I'll get this mathematics BS degree by 2024. But I needed to do something in the immediate. And what I ended up doing was joining this kind of boot camp. And it was a web coding boot camp. Like UT Austin always advertises it on Twitter and everywhere. Because honestly, it's an easy cash grab. It's like we're going to do this material that we've been doing for God knows how long and just collect checks off it. Like they're not rediscovering or learning anything new. So it's easy for them to just be like, hey, come give 14,000 for this program. And as you do all, here's 14,000, and we're gonna repeat the same thing we've been doing like three times a year for everybody. Honestly, it's like the easiest con job that you can do in terms of education, because you're not really learning anything new. It's here are these skills and go figure out what you can do with them. Now, I was fortunate though because there was a program here in the city, Workforce Solutions, and they hooked your boy up. Like I went to them, I explained my situation, and they were like, "Okay, well, we'll pay for the class. We'll give you a stipend." Like they hooked me up to like at least maintain as I go through, and it was still a struggle because I chose the 3 month option, so I was bombarded. Like I thought it was one of those like, oh, okay, no, I'll be fine. I just keep doing what I'm doing. I go to events, I go do this, I hang out with friends, go out with my lady, and yeah, that shit kind of got complicated around the middle when things got real. Just like school, everything is always good for the first like 2, 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden get hit like a Mack truck. And so that was the reason why I had my last recording, and that's why I've been delayed. Ain't kicked it with friends really. Shout out to my anchor partner for like essentially holding it down. Because yeah, it's taxing when your partner is unable to give you attention or to go do things because they're just busy with something trying to self like improve themselves. Like it wasn't as though I was out here trying to be reckless or anything of that nature. It's just that you get busy and sometimes that busy can like feel like neglect of the relationship, which I made sure I did my best to make sure that I'm present, make sure that she understood the situation. Like I don't want to assume or seem like this was like a purposeful thing. And even if there's logic behind it, it does not stop the overall feeling of neglect. So you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing this program. I have mixed in certain excursions for my BDSM side of things because I'm trying to get more well known on that aspect. Because when it comes to the BDSM community, especially with the black community, it's a small circle. And so it's kind of like you want to be known. You don't want you don't want to walk into a space and just assume people will trust you. Like you got to build a rapport, you got to build a reputation. And I make sure I aim to have a positive reputation. And so far so good. Like people know who I am, they see what I'm about, they see what I'm doing. I practice the things that I do, impact, wax, sensory deprivation, all these kind of other things. Like it's I'm getting more well known in that aspect, so that itself was work. So it wasn't like pure pleasure like like it was a lot of like driving to Houston to go to this event, meet up with some other doms in the area or tops, and like just trying to like get to like spread the word of who I am as well as get to know who are the others in this circle, especially in Texas, which is big as fuck. So it's it was a journey, and I finished the program about 2 weeks ago. So thank God I actually made it. I finished like, and what was worse was I had like 6 challenges to go on day of graduation, and it's like, yo, you gotta complete like 19 out of 21. I had like 13. So when I say I put the power of the Capricorn, the procrastination, ADHD to use for 3 days to get them all out the way, but no, I got them all done. Got my graduation stuff. Like we are good to go on that aspect. I still got to do a lot of practicing because, even when I do eventually get a job or a position, I got to show what I know. I got to show that I know what I'm doing. And so now it's all about practicing what I've learned as well as the whole honestly job hunting, because there's a lot of people that do this program. There's a lot of people that'll be doing the same job hunting that I'm doing, and that's really like it's gonna be a challenge, but I ain't no punk. I'm here for the challenge. I'll do what I can to do what I want. So that's kind of what I've been doing this entire time. So the last episode, I'm trying to even remember. Like it has been that long ago. I believe I did the grand reopening episode where I kind of talked about opening up relationships again. Like that was what my first episode was about. Just simply talking about the idea of opening a relationship, what it can be. And today, we're gonna go ahead and the title is Capture the Flag. It's because when you're out here, be it dating or doing anything of that nature, you want to make sure that you kind of checks for certain things in regards to how you're going about your relationship and what it can look like, as well as kind of checking for yourself, because you have to be honest with yourself about what it is you can handle, what it is you can't handle, what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you could do for someone, what can someone do for you. It's a lot of things that you gotta just look into. And when we talk about red and green flags, I just want to make sure that it is understand that everything is not black and white. So, I'm just pretty much saying that nothing's concrete. Gotta remember that people are always growing and changing. So the person of today will not be the same person as a year later. Like, Honestly, the person of today might not even be the same person as an hour ago. So, though no flags might have been with a person or anyone before, they can appear whether they're hidden or even brand new. And that's even personally within yourself. Like you learn new things, you gain new knowledge, new traumas come about. There's a lot of things that may happen on your journey in life that can be detrimental or honestly can be fruitful. I wasn't a perfect nigga. Like, no, I have my shitty moments. And that's okay because the overall thing is you just want to learn, you want to grow, you want to be a better person than you were prior. Now, who determines what a better person is? Honestly, that's hard to decide. There's no clean cut way to explain this is what a good person looks like. This is what a bad person looks like. Because honestly, you society changes every day. Like one day, the person that like held open the door and did all these things that was considered the proper way of going about things one day, and then the next day, yeah, they ain't it. You got to move on to something different. Like. So we have podcasts out here left and right talking about what it is to be a man, what it looks like to be a man. And what it looked like to be a man 10 years ago does not look like the same way it was a year ago, yesterday. Like, now, like, was it one time it was set where, hey, men don't cry. Now, today we're actually accepting, like, yo, it's okay to cry if you need to cry. It's okay to feel the feelings you feel. It's okay to process things. Like you don't have to just, be this kind of robot of a man that they said that you needed to be decades ago. And that might change by next year. It might change. It might go back to no crying, no tears. Like you gotta be macho. So you just it is what it is. You'll learn, you grow. That's the reason why. So the flags I'm giving is nothing concrete. These are more kind of like how I have come across in different conversations in different aspects, what it looks like, whether to, if it's a positive thing or not. Like how normally when I say a red flag, it's things that are going to be detrimental to a person. And when I say a green flag, fruitful. Because there's a there's a weird concept where it's like you don't use your friends. Like I get on the side of you don't use your friends in a way where they are like disposable items. Like no, but your friends are there to help you. Like if your friend had two bottles of water and you're thirsty, the idea that nope, I'm not gonna help my friend. I don't want to be a bother. No, like reach out to your friend. They are more than happy to help. Same thing when it comes to relationships. Same thing with dynamics. Like you reach out, hey, I need some help. And if not even only like if they're able to, they will help you. Like the worst thing that can happen is a no. So with that said, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into today's episode, but I'm just going to take a quick break because I talked a long ass time about the overall fuckery that was my long ass life for the past couple months. So yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right, travelers, welcome back to part two of this lovely podcast of mine. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. Took a lot of y'all time early, so I want to make sure we get this wrapped this up cleanly. All right, so I want to go ahead and start with the negative, because I don't like ending on negatives because there's enough negativity in the world already. So might as well go ahead and slide in onto the positive side of shit. Okay. Now, for me, one red flag when it comes to non-monogamous dating is if the person that you're approaching is coming in with a wealth building mindset as a motive for non-monogamy. Like essentially that polygynous myth where it's like one man, multiple women, we can, build a family and pool funds together and all that. I ain't with that shit. Like the reason why I'm not with that shit is I am Nigerian, I'm Igbo, so I do know of polygyny and how that was set up in that aspect. But what I grew up and learned was more so that the reason why that man would have multiple wives was because they had the funds to maintain a household with multiple wives. They weren't just out here trying to get wives together to build their wealth. Like, no, it's I got the money. I can get multiple wives to like just essentially spread who I am, spread my family, things of that effect. So when I see it over here, they try to invoke, oh yeah, our ancestors they did it, and that's why we can do it. It'll do this for the community, and I'm like, that's not how this works. Like you already have all that you need. You don't need like you shouldn't need to essentially use women to get more money. Like that's not how that game works. Another one is how one talks about their partners or exes. Honestly, this can go for both monogamous and non-monogamous. Like if they're talking bad about their partners or their ex with you, who like when they leave you, who's not to say they're gonna talk bad about you after the fact? As like that only make like you don't have to change behavior. Like clearly there's something that's amiss if this person is just talking negatively and like to what end? What is the overall goal? What's the end game of them talking about their partners in that way? And is it to like flatter you like, oh, my partner ain't shit, but you, there's something different about you, like that to me is a huge red flag. It's also because it's kind of like it's kind of reflects on how they treat people, like what they say. um Integrity is what you do when people don't can't see what you're doing. That shows a huge lack of integrity where you are out here just talking shit about your ex or your partner and they're not there. Like, would you be saying this if they were sitting right there next to you on this date? It's wild. Another one, regular cancellations. Now, I did write down the notes regular cancellations due to a primary partner. Now, the reason why I say that's a red flag in non monogamous dating is because that leans into a sort of veto power. So that means that any kind of plans that you may or may not have with a person, it just gets automatically canceled just because that primary partner is having issues. Like, that's not how one should operate. If you're going to be non monogamous, you gotta be respectful of the people that you may or that you may be dating. You can't just have it left to where everything is cut off, closed, and done once the primary partner says so. That's not right for any like that's not right for yourself because clearly you want to go on this date, and it's not right for the person that you're bringing that you are dating. But just in general, regular cancellation is just a red flag. If you do not have the time to date, don't date. Don't waste another person's time. Like they have their own things they got going on, and they don't need anybody else. Like time is the one resource that we can't get back. So don't waste. You don't want people wasting your time, so don't waste theirs. Let's see. Oh, yep. Poor communication skills, whether in person or digitally. This is a major one. If they cannot hold a conversation, whether, because look, not everyone is digitally inclined. Like, not everyone wants to be on the chat or texting all the time. So I get that. Like, who wants to be pen pals 24/7? I do get that. But they should be able to clearly communicate, hey, I'm not in the mood to chat here. Hey, I'm not in mood for X, Y, and Z. Like, they should be able to clearly communicate, hey, yeah, I'm not really about what's going on right here. I'm not feeling it. As opposed to, okay, hey, WID. Like that shit will get like just tiring and bothersome. It's just not fruitful at all. And it's a drain on you, it's a drain on others. And if you yourself have poor communication skills, you gotta look and work into that. Like you gotta look into that, you gotta work on it because it's relationships do not work when there's poor communication. Any relationship, friendships, family, uh, non-monogamous, monogamous, even when it comes to swinging and whatnot, it won't work because there's just someone's going to end up getting hurt. Someone's going to end up feeling neglected. There's just going to be nothing gained from poor communication. And always seems busy. Like, I get there are people out there that are not. They do best whenever they do best whenever they're like just on the go. Whenever they're just active. That's cool. That's understandable. Like, what they say, the idle mind is the devil's playground. I get some people just, they got to be up to something, they got to do something, or else they just feel like they're lacking. Cool. You still got to be respectful of your partner's time. Like, oh, I'm too busy, I can't go on a date. Oh, I'm too busy, I couldn't call you. Oh, I'm too busy to text. Like, if you're always busy, again, why are you in this dynamic? Why are you in this relationship if you don't have time for the people that you say that you love? So yeah, that's just what I'm saying in regards to that. But those are like the five red flags that I came across that I was thinking about. Um, because it gets a little trippy when it gets a little trippy whenever you meet someone and they seem amazing, but these things keep coming up, and then 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, a year down the line, these things keep popping up and you keep feeling bad. But the problem is you've like invested into this person emotionally, and more times than not, when you feel that investment, you will stick around and get hurt because they won't change and they showed you who they were, but you wanted to ignore it. So you just gotta be mindful of these red flags that may come up. But now I want to go ahead and focus on the green flags, like the positives that come about when you're interacting with people, because it's not all red. Like duality of life. Like they'll be good, they'll be bad. There's ups, there's downs. So the green flags that I have here, we have signs of emotional maturity. Now, when we say emotional maturity, it's not just simply that, they feel what they feel, or they don't like slam down, or they don't punch a wall whenever they're upset. Like, that's a part of it. But emotional maturity is more about they can clearly understand, they can clearly convey what they are emotionally feeling. Like there's a different level, there are different levels to what happiness is, there's different levels to what sadness is. Like everything is not the end of the world. They can essentially express all concerns and things that they may have in a healthy manner and clearly, so that way you can understand what their emotional state is. Honestly, I say over communication is a green flag. I get it. Now, when I say over communication, I don't mean that this nigga's gonna be a bugaboo. That's not what I mean. When I say over communication, I mean that they are willing to text you every day and chat, not just anything generic, but just have like a full on, like regular conversation with you, because they want to know how you're feeling. They want to understand you. Now, at some point, that communication does teeter off because with that early over communication, they understand you better and can address you better in the way that you want to be addressed. You see what I'm saying? Um, but over communication will always be better than under communication for me, because everybody wants to be understood, but you can't really understand anybody if you don't like talk and communicate. And then we would go ahead and reflect back how they talk about their partners. Like if they like if they are glowing about their partners and they are like expressing things in regards to like what they love about them and like how they generally like and feel about them, that is to me a green flag. Because it's expressing like they have love for any and everyone, especially those that are around. I feel like that's a positive thing. Now, again, I still said how they talk about their partners. Like if it's over here giving a vibe of like they don't know what's going on, then I feel like that's a little off. It's like, yo, your partner should know that you're on this date. Like it'll be a little awkward if they just pop up on you. It's like, oh, what's going on here? All right. Now, another green flag is acknowledgement of you as an individual. I feel like one thing that kind of ends up being a miss sometimes is that we put people in like bubbles and pockets. Like we kind of generalize individuals. So it's, oh, unicorns. All unicorns are the same. They're all looking for this. That's not really all that fruitful. And if they like acknowledge that you are a person that likes this, dislikes that. Like they are not trying to put you in a bubble. I find that to be a green flag. And the last one I have here is clearly define their dynamic and other dynamics that they may be interested in. This kind of also falls into the communication bubble. It's essentially they have to be able to express what it is that they are seeking. I feel like that's a green flag if they can express that clearly to you. So if they want the quote unquote, so I guess the society standard is if they want a triad, a closed triad, they gotta clearly express why that is and what it will look like. It's not just simply, "Oh, I just want some threesome sometimes." Like, if that's what they want, they gotta be able to express that. They can't, like, they have to have it clearly defined. It can't be a situation of, "Oh yeah, I just thought it was cool." Like, they have to have an understanding is what it is that they're trying to like get, what they're trying to achieve. And yeah, those are the flags that I have down. I know there are so many more that you can be on the lookout for, but I just find that these are very fruitful in regards to dating, be it via apps, going to different organizations, being in different group chats. I just find that if you look for these, you'll find something either more fruitful or at the bare minimum, not waste your time. Because, yeah, my number one pet peeve is my time being wasted. My number two pet peeve is wasting someone else's time. Like those are the top two for me because I'm not here to take time. Like you can't get time back. Like unless someone discovers a time machine as well as a de-aging formula, you ain't getting that time back. And I am not in the business of wasting someone's time. But yeah, that's gonna be the episode for today. Now that I'm done with this coding boot camp, I'm just strictly gonna focus on outside of job hunting. I'll aim to get this out more regularly. I do have my other podcast, Big Letter Little Letter, with my host Jam. We will be having that out more regularly. Going to be recording tomorrow for that, so be sure to listen in. It focuses on like different aspects of kink and BDSM, so be sure to tune in. You can follow me at Hitchhiker's Guide to E&M on Instagram, Hitchhiking to E&M on Twitter, and for my personal, I do have Hedonistic Dom on IG. I do have a Hedonistic Dom underscore on FetLife, and I also do have Hedonistic underscore Dom on Twitter. Now that I have a little bit more free time in my life, I'm gonna try to aim to dish out more content regularly. I do have my Twitch, Heda underscore TX. I'll aim to do live recordings of this podcast on there, as well as do some gaming stuff. Like I'm not like a Call of Duty expert or anything. I just play chill games like How to Build a Zoo, maybe play some Fable, nothing too crazy. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for joining me on this journey. I have been your tour guide on this hitchhiker's adventure. And yeah, be sure to tune in to the next episode. Bye, y'all.